Hello there, here with another video, one I'm very excited to do today. I'm sorry this has taken a little while to do, it's taken longer than I'd hoped to do. But basically I've been in Prague when this came out, so yeah, I'm a few days late with this. But we're going to talk about this album today, Carey by Blossoms. Their new album, their 5th album. I've been very excited for this for a while. Anyone who knows anything about me will know I'm a big Blossoms fan. I love Blossoms, they're one of my favourite bands in the world at the minute, if not my favourite band in the world, so to finally have their new album is very exciting. Anyway, we're going to do the usual here today. I will show you the copies I own. There's 4, spoilers. I will also do a bit on the background of the album, and then we'll do a track-by-track review. I'll pre-warn you, this is probably going to be quite a long video. So, let's start off. I'll show you this copy here first. This one, I believe, is the Blood Records version. So, we have the front cover here. Carey, really like that cover, I should say. That's the back cover with the band doing it backwards, actually, I've just noticed. With all the writing on, with the tracks, etc. Who's playing on the album, all that jazz. It's a gatefold. So there you go. That is the inner gatefold thing. Right, I'll get out the record, because, you know, it's Blood Records, which means it'll look cool. And here we go. It looks like, ta-da! Ain't that a beauty? Ain't that a beauty? It's nearly as beautiful as that Definitely Maybe vinyl I showed off the other week. So yeah, there you go, that's the vinyl. It doesn't feel very heavy, this. I'm guessing it's 140 grams, I think. Don't know that for certain, but, you know. Right, hang on, here we go. Can I get it back in? Oh God, I'll do that later. We also have a booklet, which has the lyrics. Pictures and stuff, so basically it's stuff like that all the way through. So yeah, will the booklet go back in? Yes it will, easier than the record. Right, that one can be the one that goes on the stand. I should point out this cover as well, it has, in case you can't tell, taken heavy inspiration from this album, Help by the Beatles. Yeah, I mean it's pretty clear really that that's not copying but pretty much inspired. And I should also say, in case you didn't know, the writing, the reason why it's all in handwritten writing, that's Tom Ogden's writing. That's inspired by this, Hunky Dory by David Bowie. If you look on the back of this, David Bowie has handwritten all the tracks and stuff, so basically, yeah, that's what's inspired that. So that's the first copy I own. Leave that there. You're probably wondering why I've got 4 copies. I'm wondering why I've got 4 copies as well. This is the second one from Blossom's official store. This is the bonus tracks version. So this is the standard album with an additional 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 tracks on. So, you know, too good to turn down really. I won't get this out because inside it's pretty much exactly the same as the other copy. I should say as well, yes I have, on this review I will be reviewing the bonus tracks. So stay tuned for that, it'll be very exciting. And then I also have this one, another version from Blossom's official store with a different cover this time. I'm not the biggest fan of this cover, I think it's inferior to the proper one. But this is the covers version, so with this one you get the standard album and then you get covers, you get 8 covers, which we're also going to talk about towards the end of this video. So yes, we have that. And then finally, my personal favourite of all these copies I own, we have this. Look at that. Hope that's coming through okay. Liquid vinyl. Okay, that's incredible. This might be my favourite record I own. This is from Bad World. It's the 3rd thing they've released, but I think it's the 3rd thing you've been able to order from them. But I'm pretty sure this is the first one that they've actually dispatched. Now, the record itself is very pretty, it's very beautiful, but I've got to say, little complaint here, little rant. This was £45, and I'm not being funny. If I'm paying £45 for this, you could at least include the cover. I have spoke to them, I've messaged them to ask if it was just missed somehow from my order, but apparently not. The cover is not supposed to be included, and it's quite misleading on the website because the picture very much makes it look like the cover is included. There is nothing on the website, I looked last night, that says you do not get the cover included with this. So yeah, I just think that's really disappointing. I think that's verging on false advertising, to be honest. But there we go. Luckily, because I have other versions, I've got the cover. But if this was the only version I owned, I'd be very disappointed to have paid £45 and not have the cover. And I know the reason they'll argue for not including it is because of the weight of the record. It's heavy and it's thick, this vinyl. But I'm not being funny in this day and age. I'm sure they can find a way to make it work. But I don't want to distract from the fact that that is bloody beautiful. I mean, look at that. It's got liquid in it. And it sounds great. I listened to this one last night. Sounds very, very good. So, there we go. That's all the copies that I own of this album. So, I shall get the iPad and tell you a little bit about facts and stuff like that. So, this album, it was released on the 20th of September 2024, last Friday at the time of recording this. It was produced, as usual, predominantly by James Skelly of The Coral. He's produced the other 4 albums from Blossoms. It also included some production from, Josh Lloyd Watson from Jungle. I like Jungle, but I don't know their names. Yeah, that's on 2 tracks. What can I say after I'm Sorry and Nightclub? We'll get on to them when we do the track-by-track review. So for the album itself, it was recorded predominantly live in the studio. They kind of went back to a more basic style of recording, where it was the 5 of them just gathered around in the room playing together. The last few albums, particularly the last album, Ribbon Around the Bomb, it felt very much more segregated. It was much more production heavy because it had strings and stuff like that on it. There's nothing like that on here really. It's more back to basics, more back to the style of their debut album, I suppose, recording live in the studio. 4 singles have preceded this album, although one of them didn't come out till the day before, so as far as I'm concerned really it was only 3 singles, which is good. One of the problems I had with the last album, Ribbon Around the Bomb, was they released far too many singles before the album came out. By the time the album came out, there was virtually nothing that we hadn't heard. There was only like a couple of tracks maybe. As I said, this feels like a return to their earlier style of albums. I've already said about the artwork being inspired by Help and Hunky Dory. This is the first release from the band on their new label, Odd Sock? No, I think that's how it's supposed to look, but it's ODDSK Recordings. Odd SK Recordings, I'm assuming. Basically, it's the band's surname, so Ogden, Donovan, Dewhurst, Salt and Kellogg Recordings, basically. Basically, what's happened is after Ribbon Around the Bomb, they've left their previous record label, Virgin EMI, I think it was, and they've decided to go it alone with their own independent label, so fair play to them. Anyway, this album itself, it's a much more dancey kind of album. It's very bass heavy, it's very dance music. There's not really any ballads or slow songs on it. Critical reception around this album, it's been pretty good. I've seen a few people online saying this is Blossom's best album. Spoilers, it's not. But it's a good album nonetheless. Foolish Living Spaces, however, still remains their best album. At the time of recording this, it's Tuesday, so the charts haven't been announced. It's currently on course for number 1. But it's in a chart, I would claim the charts company are claiming it's in a chart battle with something I've never heard of from some American woman. No idea what it is. But she's apparently 2,000 copies behind, so keep buying, Gary. But I'll be honest, I think this will get to number 1. So, I think that's everything I have to say here in the background part. So, we'll dive into the track-by-track review. So the standard album has 10 tracks on. We'll then talk about the 8 bonus tracks. And then we'll finish with the 8 covers. So, yeah, like I say, this might go on quite a bit. I'll try and be quick. But we'll see. It'll probably end up being about 40 minutes, this video. Sorry in advance. If you do watch it all, thank you very much. That's appreciated. Anyway, the album, it kicks off with Big Star. I really like Big Star. It's a brilliant opening track. It's got quite a heavy guitar on it. And the bass, it's going to be a common trend throughout this video. I'll keep mentioning the bass. But yeah, it's probably the most heavy rocking song on the album, Big Star. It's got a great set of lyrics as well, and they kind of feel very relatable. If I was famous and in a band, this is what I would be like. I'd be very shy. I'd see all these famous people and I'd be like, no, I'm not going to go over and talk to them. I'm too shy. Yeah, great catchy chorus. It makes me want to dance, which, yeah, takes a lot, really. I don't really dance very much, but, you know, this song, it makes me want to, as does most of this album. But yeah, Big Start, great opening track. I hope they do this live because I think it will go down very well, as will most of this album, to be honest. I hope they do most of it live. They've not announced a Plaza gig at the time of recording this, which is a bit concerning. I wish they'd hurry up because, yeah, it's a tradition really now that I go to the Plaza gig and see the corresponding album performed in full. I mean, surely this one can be done in full considering the way they recorded it, but we'll see. Anyway, yes, Big Star, great opening track. Track 2, What Can I Say After I'm Sorry? Lead single from the album. It's one of the songs that was produced by Josh Lloyd Watson of Jungle. Now I've got to be honest, when I first heard this single, I didn't like it. I thought it was crap. I was really underwhelmed and very disappointed when I first heard this. I thought, I just didn't think it was very good. And if I'd done this video, even about a fortnight ago, I'd probably still come on here and said this isn't a good song. But for some reason, in the last 2 weeks, this has grown on me big style, and now I love the song. I think it's a great song. It's very Nile Rodgers chic sounding sort of thing, very bass heavy, kind of like nod your head sort of thing. If you watch the video, you can even see them doing the nod your head kind of thing. Again, it makes me want to dance. I think it's a good single. I don't personally think it should have been the lead single. The next song I'm going to talk about, I'll talk more about what I think should have been the lead single. But yeah, I don't think this should have been the lead single. It's definitely single material, but is it lead single material? No. I think single 1 and single 2 should have been swapped around and it should have come out the other way around. But that's just my personal opinion. Right, track number 3. We have the title track, Gary. Where's Gary? Who's got Gary? Yes, the story of Gary. This is about a gorilla who was stolen from a garden centre in Carluke, which is near Glasgow. And basically, Tom Ogden heard on the radio that someone had stolen a gorilla called Gary from a garden centre, and the police were trying to find him. And it inspired him to write this song. And they've gone and made it the title track of the album. And first things first, disclaimer, my dad is called Gary. So instantly, that is going to make me like the song. But even if my dad wasn't called Gary, I would still be coming on here and saying that this is a great song. To me personally, this is the best song on the album. This should have been the lead single. It's classic Blossoms, this. It's one of their all-time best songs. I really, really do like this song. It also kind of reminds me a little bit of a Paul McCartney type of lyric, the sense of it's like a story song, which McCartney is very good at writing. You don't get a lot of story songs in this day and age, but yeah, here's Blossoms doing a very good one. It's a very, very catchy song, and I just think it's just fun. That's the essence of this album. It's fun. It's not supposed to be serious. Ribbon Around the Bomb had quite a lot more serious songs. I like Ribbon Around the Bomb, by the way, for the record. Songs like Visions is a brilliant song. It's one of Blossom's best songs, but it's quite a serious song. Whereas there's not really anything like that on here. It's just a fun sort of party dance album. But yeah, Gary, it's just a great song. I really like it. But yeah, who's got Gary? Have you got Gary? I think Gary was eventually found sawn in half. So yeah, bit of an underwhelming end to poor old Gary. But I've seen this one live. I should have said I've seen Blossoms live at Wythenshawe Park. Last month they did Gary. They did What Can I Do After I'm Sorry? What Can I Say After I'm Sorry? And they went down very well, both songs, especially Gary. It was in the encore. It went down like an all-time Blossoms classic song. And I think it will remain a staple of their set for a very long time. It's a very good song. And my dad's called Gary, so yeah. I mean, whenever I put this song on and my dad's about, he'll turn it up. Because there's not many songs, if any, which mention Gary. Anyway, yes, that's track 3. Track 4, we have I Like Your Look. This was the song that was released as a single the day before the album came out. By far, this is the most experimental song on the album. It's the most un-Blossoms sounding song, if that makes sense. Very reminiscent of Rapture by Blondie, which I know a lot of people have said about this song, but it's true. It is very much like Rapture by Blondie. Fab Five Freddy told me everybody slide. DJ spinning, I said my mind. Tom Ogden is somewhat rapping, and it's something that I didn't know I needed in my life, but it's very nice to have. Yeah, Tom is not that bad at rapping, really. I mean, he's not the world's greatest rapper. I'm not going to pretend I'm a big fan of rap music, but when it's done like this, it's okay. Yeah, this song, it was co-written with CMAT. I'm assuming it's CMAT or is it CMAT? A lady, anyway. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about her, but she's very, very good on this song. She sings the co-lead along with Tom, and her voice is just, mwah, it's brilliant. The way the pair of them harmonise together, very good. Anyway, yes, really, really like this song. It makes me want to dance. The bass is once again driving this song, as it has been on pretty much every track so far. I love the music video as well for this song, which is something I don't really normally care about music videos. But yeah, it's just something very cool about this video. So yeah, I Like Your Look is a good song. I think your flares are so cool. I like your look. I love the lyric as well about gonna put me in the White House because I'm the president of style. Gonna paint the Oval Office green. Oval Office pink, is it? Something like that. Yeah, pretty cool. Right, track 5, Nightclub. This is the second song, which has been produced by Josh Lloyd Watson. I keep forgetting his name, whatever he's called, of Jungle. At the time of recording this is my least favourite track on the album. I don't really care for this one. It's not a bad song, it's just, yeah, it just comes across. It's the only thing on the album that comes across as filler, in my opinion. Bass, once again, drives this song. It does make me want to dance, but potentially this might grow on me. Like, what can I say after I'm sorry? Because obviously, at first, I didn't like that song. Pretty much felt the same way about that song as I do about this one at the minute, and now I love it. So maybe if I come back to you in a few months' time, I'll be saying that I really like this song, but we shall see. It's not a bad song though. Right, track 6, we have Perfect Me. This was the third song from the album, the third single, sorry. I love this song. Again, very much classic Blossoms. I believe this was the first song they recorded for the album. They recorded it quite a bit before the rest of the album, and they just left it for a while. They didn't really think anything of it. And it was James Skelly that pushed them to get it put out. And thank God they did, because it's a very good song. Lyrics are very good, they're very relatable. It's a very much a perfect observation on modern life. Got to keep my teeth nice and clean, and especially the middle bit, I get by with my pilot light bright and my own worst enemy half the time. It's basically about being on your phone too much and stuff like that, holding yourself to stupid standards, which I'm guilty for, and I'm sure you're probably guilty for. Anyway, a very catchy song. It reminds me very much of the Cool Like You era of Blossoms. Yeah, it's quite synth heavy, especially on the intro. Miles plays a nice little intro on the synth. Yeah, I love the video for this song as well. So yeah, Perfect Me, great song. Right, track number 7, we have Mothers. This song is about Tom and Joe's friendship, plus the fact that their mothers were friends back in the 80s. A lot of people seem to be saying this is their favourite song on the album, and I would agree, it's a good song. It's not my favourite on the album, but yeah, it's good. It has Josh's dad playing the piano on it as well. Yeah, really, I do like this song. It's got a nice little 60s vibe to it. I love the lyrics as well, you know, dance to the Smiths and Rick Astley. That's a nice little cheeky reference there to the fact those gigs they did with Rick Astley performing songs of the Smiths. I've seen them doing it at the Albert Hall in Manchester. One of the best gigs I have ever been to. Really did enjoy that gig. So yeah, that's a good lyric. I love the one as well about moving to New York and your accent changing because you've moved to New York. Again, I mean, I'd love to move to New York, and if I did, I'm sure it would change my accent, probably for the better. Yeah, again, got a nice groove to it, and the bass is kind of driving this song as well. Yeah, it's a nice song. I really like Mothers. Right, track 8, we have Cinnamon. So this song is probably the closest anything on the album is to an acoustic song, but it's not an acoustic song in the sense of things like My Favourite Room or My Vacant Days or The Writer. There's no like proper acoustic songs on this album, but this is the closest we come to it. Yeah, it's got a lovely little reference at the start to Cool for Cats by Squeeze. Yeah, it's nice. I like it when artists reference other songs, especially cool songs like Cool for Cats. Catchy chorus once again. It's got quite a bassy vibe to it. It's not my favourite song on the album, but it's not bad. Yeah, good set of lyrics. Not really much to say about Cinnamon. I'm blaming Cinnamon. Right, track 9, Slow Down. slow down and stop making such long videos, Ollie. This song is my second favourite song on the album. I absolutely adore this song. When I first listened to this album in Prague, this was a song that hit me the most. It's the one I enjoyed the most. The bass, once again, is driving it here. It's got an absolutely fantastic set of lyrics, this song. Potentially some of Tom Ogden's best ever lyrics. I think we should slow down, run into my arms now, and stuff like that. It's just basically about slowing down, taking things back to basics. Yeah, it's a really good song, and the chorus is to die for with the harmonies. Every time when the chorus comes in, I'm like, oh, yes, this is brilliant. But yeah, great song. I cannot wait to hear this one live, and I hope to God they do it live, because if they don't do this song live, I will cry. I'll be leaving the concert venues crying, and I'm going to see them 4 times on this tour that's coming up. So yeah, evidently I like Blossoms, in case you can't tell. Yeah, basically, slow down. If you want to know why I love Blossoms, listen to this song. It kind of perfectly sums it up. It's a brilliant Blossoms song. Yeah, I love it. Absolutely adore the song. And then track 10, we have the closing track. Why Do I Always Give You the Worst of Me? This again was co-written with CMAT, whatever she's called. Once again, brilliant set of lyrics. So from what I've understood, this song, basically, Tom Ogden's wife, Katie, who's also Joe Donovan, the drummer's sister, they were having an argument, and she said to him, "Why do you always give me the worst of you?" And it inspired him. The phrase stuck with him, and that's kind of where this song originates from. Now, I've read in an interview that it's also partly about the fact that Tom feels like he puts his songwriting before his wife. And I've got to be honest with you, it is brutally honest and highly commendable that Tom has even put this song out in the public domain, where he's singing about all the bad things in his relationship, in his marriage, and he's being openly honest and brutal about himself. And yeah, it really is admirable listening to the lyrics when you know what it's about. Yeah, it's a brilliant song. It's one of the highlights of the album. It's a really, really good closing track. It's a fast song as well. It kind of keeps building up and up and up and up, and you keep expecting something to happen, and it never comes. And it kind of works well that it never comes, because at the end of the song, it just cuts dead. That's it. Just ends. It just cuts off. Yeah. This song as well, it could potentially be Tom Ogden's best ever vocals. He's seriously really going for it here. He's really doing a really good job. Yeah, so brilliant way to close the album. So there we have it. That is the 10 tracks. Now, I've got to be honest here. I like the album, I really do. Like I say, Foolish Living Spaces, I think is a better album than this one. But I'm on record, I've said it quite a few times in videos, that in my opinion, a good album length is about 35 to 45 minutes, somewhere in that ballpark. And, you know, a lot of modern albums, they go beyond 45 minutes and they're too long. This is one of the few examples where it feels a bit too short. It's only half an hour long. I feel like they could have thrown on one more song just to make it, the running length, just feel a bit more complete. It just feels like it's missing it feels like it needs 1 or 2 more songs just to make it, the length of it just feel right. It's maybe just me that feels this way, but you know, I don't want to sound ungrateful either, because it's a really good album and I'm pleased we have it. But yeah, it's it's just a shame that it's only half an hour long. Anyway, let's dive into these bonus tracks, shall we? I don't know why I'm doing all this. So there are 8 bonus tracks. At the time of recording this, you can only get it if you buy the album physically. There they are, the bonus tracks, if you can see that. So I think what's basically going to happen is, I imagine, if you're watching this around the time I first upload this, then yes, you'll have to buy a physical copy to get this. If you're watching this in a few weeks or months' time, it will be on stream, and it definitely will happen. I think what they're doing basically is they're holding it back to try and get as many people as they can to buy physical copies to help get the sales numbers up, to get them to number 1. Basically, I think that's what's going on here. Rather than putting them all on streaming to begin with, and then people just not bothering buying physical copies. I think if I was to put my marketing brain on, that's what I think is going on. That's what I would do anyway if I wanted to sell physical copies to try and get to number 1. Anyway, so obviously, unless you're on this physically at the time of recording this, a lot of you won't have heard these. So yeah, except for one of them. Now, I've got to be honest, because I've been away and I only got back yesterday, I've only listened to these songs once, each one of them once. So this is all, what I'm saying here is all based off my first listen. So opinions might change as time goes by, but I wanted to get this video out. Predominantly talk about the main album really, because I am quite familiar by now with the main album, but these bonus tracks, I'll get there, but I'm just not quite there yet. Anyway, let's go. So we kick off with a song called The Honeymoon. This song, it's proper indie rock. We've got a sort of indie rock chorus to it. Lyrics are somewhat downbeat. It's a different style of vocals from Tom on the verse here. He's singing it kind of much more downbeat than his usual upbeat kind of vocals, even though he often writes quite sad lyrics, but he just has a way of singing them to make it sound happy. I agree that this probably wouldn't have fit the main album. I should have said actually, the reason why these are bonus tracks was the band felt that these songs, they didn't fit with the rest of the album, so that's why they got left off, and I do agree that this one wouldn't have fit. Anyway, after that we have To Do List After the Breakup featuring Finley. So obviously most people will know this song. This was released last year as a standalone single, and to all of our surprise, I think it's not on the album. Now, Blossoms have explained the reason why it didn't go on the album was it didn't fit. It just didn't seem to fit with the rest of the album, and it's quite strange because normally what they do is they release a standalone single about a year or so before the main album comes out. So when we first heard this song, we thought this was it. This was the first taste of album 5, and it's not even gone on it. You know, the Care For, Your Girlfriend, both of them came out about a year before their respective albums. Just to give you an idea of where we were going with those next albums. So yeah, this one not being included is strange, but at least you can get it on here on the bonus tracks, so you do at least have it on vinyl. So what can I say here, what have I wrote? So obviously I'm a bit more familiar with this song because I've been listening to it the last year. It's based off a book that Tom read. He really liked it. He contacted the author and asked if he could use it. The author said yes, and made it into a song. And Tom and Finley are both singing the lead vocals, and they bounce off each other brilliantly. The way they harmonise with each other is very, very good. It is a shame that it was left off the album because I think it is a good song, but I agree it wouldn't have fit. I'm assuming this originally was intended for the album. I'm assuming when they put it out as a single last year, they initially did think this is going on the album, but obviously when they've come to mix it and stuff, I think that's when they've decided to take it off. A very catchy song with some great lyrics. When it came out last year, it was quite a useful song for me because last year I went through a breakup. Ooh. If you watch my Ribbon Around the Bomb video, funnily enough, you'll have heard me talking about my then girlfriend, who's now my ex. Yeah, since then stuff has happened, and yeah, this song was quite helpful, shall we say. I was foolish, it's proven. Keep moving, to-do list after the breakup. If there's a Cupid, well, he's useless. Right, let's move on. Track 13, Amsterdam in the Rain. So this song, I think it's a very cool title. I think it's a cool title for an album, to be honest. If this had gone on the album, I think it should have been the album title because I really like it. It's very early Blossom sounding. This maybe even predating their first album when they were just doing EPs, so the stuff that would now be on the extended tracks for their first album. It's very much sounding like that. It's driven by a synth. It's quite a fast song. It's quite hard to pick up the lyrics as well. Unfortunately, on these physical copies, there isn't actually any lyrics for any of these bonus tracks included, so that's a bit annoying. I mean, I wish Tom had got his pen out and wrote these lyrics down too. So I'm not entirely sure what he's singing here, but yeah, it's decent enough. I like the song, but I agree it wouldn't fit on the album. It is a potential good B-side though, although they don't seem to do B-sides. The last one of them they did was Torn Up, B-side of Your Girlfriend, and since then they've never done a B-side since. So yeah, right, next track is Get Happy. So I've wrote here, this sounds like a cross between something that would be on Cool Like You and Foolish Love in Spaces. It's synth and bass driven. Again, it wouldn't fit the album, but it's quite a catchy song, but it's not Blossom's best song. Get happy. It's something like that. It's basically the chorus. Yeah, it's a catchy chorus, but yeah, if I knew the lyrics, I would sing it to you. Right, next track, Mariah Carey Through Death Valley. Again, that's a really cool title. Bass-driven song, it's got a catchy synth riff. It reminds me of the bonus tracks from the Foolish Living Spaces era, which I always forget exists. Songs like Underneath the Sun and Pure Pop, and that other one which I can't remember. But basically those songs, it's kind of similar to those style of Blossom songs. Agree, it wouldn't fit the album. It feels like it's lacking something, this one. I don't know what it is, but it feels like it needs something. Who knows? It does have a nice middle 8 though. Right, track 16, we have Edwyn and Roddy. So this song, it reminds me of the Smiths. It's kind of got a Big Mouth Strikes Again kind of vibe to it. It's also the longest of these bonus tracks. I think it's long. I don't know what the running length is because it doesn't say anywhere, I don't think. But it's definitely longer than anything on the main album and any of these other bonus tracks. And I really, really like this song. Tom is definitely trying to sing this like Morrissey. 1 minute he's gone like really high pitched with that sort of Morrissey style of high pitched vocals. The melody, it's very Smith sounding, like I say, Big Mouth Strikes Again. Personally, of the bonus tracks, this is the one I think that could have gone on the album, and I think it should have done. However, had it gone on the album, I think it would have to be the closing track because of its length. It just feels very closing track kind of material. So yeah, part of me does think this should have gone on the album as the closing track. Now, whether that would sort of ruin Why Do I Always Give You the Worst to Me, I don't know. But yeah, I do think this one's kind of wasted here. It's about the only one. It's not my favourite of them all, but I do think it's the one that should have been on the album. I think it would have fit. And I think if it had gone on, it would be a lot of people's favourite song. It's a very, very good song, this one. So hopefully it comes to streaming soon so everybody can hear it and experience its brilliance. Right, next track we have Me vs. Me. So to start with, this song, it sounds very much like a demo. It maybe is to begin with. It sounds like it's just Tom on his own playing an electric guitar, I think. And then the rest of the band, they gradually come in as the song goes on. It's got a bit of a Velvet Underground kind of vibe to it, the first portion of the song. Kind of Pale Blue Eyes, that style. Not with the lyrics, but just with like the melody, that kind of style. And then suddenly, there's this tempo change, and it goes into, dare I say it, somewhat of a punk song, which is not really something you associate with Blossoms, punk music. But yeah, that's kind of the best way to describe the direction the song kind of goes. I like the song, I do, and I agree it wouldn't fit the album, but yeah, it's decent enough. And then we have the next track, Television. Faster song, it's kind of bass driven again. It's not the best song of these, it's probably the weakest of these bonus tracks. It's the one that hasn't hit me the most. It wouldn't have fit the album, and if it had gone on, it would definitely have been the worst track on Gary if it had gone on it. Yeah, the chorus is kind of just Tom constantly chanting television over and over. And then we have the final bonus track, L is for Love. This is my favourite of the bonus tracks. This is not just my favourite of the bonus tracks, it is one of my favourite Blossom songs. It is absolutely brilliant. This is just Tom on his own at the piano. Basically, it sounds like Paul McCartney. If you've ever seen the Get Back documentary, quite often Paul would just come in early and he'd start playing away on a piano and play all these songs that wouldn't make the album. Some of them would become solo songs, some of them have never been released. It's kind of like that. It's very 1968, 1969 Paul McCartney sounding. Every day she takes a morning bath, she wets her hair, wraps a towel around her as she's walking to the bedroom. The chair, it's just another day. In terms of a Blossom sound, it's probably the closest to a Ribbon Around the Bomb sound on this album. Yeah, I absolutely love the song. Like I say, it is very, very, very McCartney sounding. A lot of people will describe music as like Beatles sounding or McCartney sounding, and often it isn't, but this genuinely is. It really is. Yeah, like I say, favourite of the bonus tracks. It's one of my favourite songs that Blossoms have ever... it's one of my favourite Blossom songs I've ever heard. It's delicate, it's beautiful, and it sounds like Paul McCartney, so of course I'm going to love it. Yeah, I really hope this one comes to streaming just so I can keep listening to it again and again and again and again. So, that's the bonus tracks. So, we're nearly there now, folks. We're now going to talk a little bit about the covers, which is this version. I should really put it on the stand, but I'm not going to bother. There are 8 covers. Again, same with the bonus tracks. I imagine these will come onto streaming in the next week or two. So yeah, we'll quickly go through these. So first cover is I Want to Dance With Somebody, originally by Whitney Houston. We're not off to a great start here because I hate this song to begin with. The original version of this, it's one of those songs, it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, We Will Rock You, Sweet Caroline, all them kind of songs. Just songs where they come on and you think, oh, for fuck's sake, not this again. Yeah, it's just a song I don't like. So we're not off to a great start here. But Blossoms, they're doing a good job of this cover. I prefer this version to the original, but I still would say it's not made me love the song, basically. Maybe I'm just weird for not liking this song, but Blossoms do a slightly different take on it as well. It's not quite as 80s pop sounding. They take it more down an indie acoustic route, but yeah. If for some reason I want to listen to this song, I'll definitely go to Blossoms rather than the original. Right, next track you have You To Me Are Everything, which is originally by The Real Thing. I think it was 1976 this came out. Nice subtle slide guitar on this one from Josh. Tom sings it beautifully. I adore this cover. I never knew I needed it in my life, to be honest, but it's a very good cover. Should point out as well, I've only listened to each of these covers once as well. So yeah. Right, next up, track 22, Thinking About You. This was originally by Radiohead. Now, I'm not really a Radiohead fan, so I'm not familiar with the original of this, but I really enjoy this cover. Tom is really going for some high notes here. It's probably some of the highest notes he's ever gone for. And it makes me want to go out and hunt out the original. Yeah, it's just something about Radiohead. I've just never been able to get into them. Right, next up we have Let Me Love You, which is originally by someone called Mariah. I'm not going to lie, I have never heard this song in my life. What's interesting about this song is on the chorus, Chaz sings the co-lead vocal, which begs a question that I've often wondered. Why have Blossoms never done a song with Charlie singing the lead vocal? I mean, is it written in stone that Tom has to sing the lead vocal all the time? I mean, look at the Stones. Keith Richards occasionally sings. Yeah, I'm trying to think of other bands. Queen, I suppose. Brian May sang sometimes. Roger Taylor sang as well. Oasis, Noel obviously sang. So it would be nice if Charlie sang a song for a change. Just, you know, would be nice to hear because he's got a bloody good voice. Decent cover anyway. And again, I'll probably go and hunt out the original to see if I like it or not. Right, next track we have Cracklin Rosie. This was originally by Neil Diamond, and thank God they haven't done Sweet Caroline. There is a God. Because if they had done Sweet Caroline, I'd have straight up skipped it, because even Blossoms will not make me want to listen to that song. It's just been, I mean, I never liked it to begin with, but in the last few years, for some reason, it's been hijacked, and I still don't understand why people have suddenly started hanging off it, but there we go. Anyway, beautiful cover, this song. Tom sings it beautiful and the harmonies are lovely. I'm not sure if it's Tom or Miles playing the keys on here, but it's excellent regardless. If I had to bet, I would say it's probably Miles playing the keys. Yeah, basically Blossoms, they're just very good at covers. Track 25, So Hot You're Hurting My Feelings. This is originally by someone called Caroline Polachek, I think. Again, no idea who that is, no idea what this song is, never heard it before. Maybe I just live under a rock and it's a very well-known song, perhaps. Anyway, it sounds good. And to provide you a little update, after I listened to this, it's the only one of these covers where I then went and hunted out the original. And yeah, it's alright, but I think Blossoms actually do it better. It's more my style. Got a very catchy chorus and some nice slide guitar on it. Right, next up we have Telephone. This was originally by Lady Gaga. It's like transporting me back to when I was 11 or something. This song, haven't heard it for years and years and years. I wasn't expecting them to cover this, to be honest. It's got a lovely chorus with the harmonies. I really like this cover and I never knew I needed it in my life, but it's a very good cover. It's one of the better ones, this one actually. And then finally we have Waiting in Vain, which was originally by Bob Marley, which means, yes, Blossoms are doing reggae music. Blossoms are doing reggae. Makes me want a reggae album from them now. Yeah, it's a really good cover. Who knew? Who knew they could do reggae? It's got a nice little chill vibe to it, which is to be expected with reggae music. But yeah, it's a good cover and it's a great way to close. And that is that. Sorry I've gone on for so long, but there's quite a lot to talk about here. So, Gary, in terms of the standard 10 tracks on the album, yeah, it's good. Probably Blossom's second best album, I would say. It's definitely not better than Foolish Living Spaces. But, you know, I think it's probably got, I think most people prefer this to Ribbon Around the Bomb. I'm kind of making it sound like Ribbon Around the Bomb wasn't a well-liked album, because it was. It's a bloody good album, but I just feel this one, it's just got a better, it's just more upbeat, this album, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I really like this cover, because I've got that many copies, I think, in that gap there, under Ribbon Around the Bomb. I don't know if you can even see it on camera, but I think I'm going to get it framed, one of these, and put it up on the wall, because I really like the cover. Anyway, I think that's all I've got to say for now, so thank you very much for watching. Remember, keep an eye out for Gary, everybody. And yes, enjoy the album if you haven't heard it. If you go to see them live, enjoy them. I know I certainly will be. And yeah, that's all I've got to say. So thank you very much for watching. And yeah, keep an eye out for Gary.